And what is the real reason why you're getting radicalized?
Okay,
well,
so
because you don't know who the fuck you are.
So you could be getting radicalized for the better or for the worse too.
For sure.
So you're just really getting educated. Really.
Look, there's people that get radicalized towards radical ideas of fitness and will and discipline
That's
because
a good point.
Paying attention to Jocko every morning. You can get what is radicalized. You could be a radical. You could be into radical kindness. You get radicalized to just be kind to people.
Yeah.
It's all dependent upon what are you talking about and who's doing it. So why would the social media platform be in trouble for doing nothing other than giving people a voice?
But the algorithm, is there an algorithm that at a certain
That's
point?
where it gets weird.
So
the
I think
algorithm
that's more
gets
what I
weird.
mean then. Is the algorithm, isn't there some liability to an algorithm? Like at a
No,
certain...
but here's the problem. The algorithm
Okay.
amplifies what you like. So you have to decide what you're looking at.
Right.
You have to have some personal responsibility because
That's a good
most of my algorithm, particularly on YouTube, is all just stuff I like. It's all fun stuff. It's all interesting. It's all ancient history stuff, cool cars that people are building. That's it. That's most of it. Fights, pool matches, professional pool matches, a lot of Muay Thai. No, it's all stuff I'm into. It's nothing is – so, why is your algorithm fucked up? Because that's the stuff you're clicking on all the time. And a lot of things – I don't know if you could do it on Instagram. Can you do it I don't like posts like this where you right-click on things?
Yeah, I think you can. But you and
I know you
also,
can do it on Google Newsfeed.
You and
I'm
I
not
are
interested
adults.
in these things.
Like if it's a young
Right.
person, is there any
Right.
more? Should there be anything? Like I agree, there is a level. It's always personal responsibility, and I think we're probably in a space where more than ever, personal responsibility. It's going to start to thin the herd because it's like who can have control over their own wherewithal, and what they absorb.
Well, we have to learn from other people's mistakes, right? And we kind of are better at that than we're better at that as a society than say when societies with alcohol, for instance, than a society where alcohol gets introduced into that society where they don't have a history of alcohol. Generally speaking,
Like, what
that
are you saying?
destroys civilizations.
You mean if a place does, like when they gave
Like
alcohol
Native
to those
Americans.
people?
Like to Native Americans. It's
Yeah.
a perfect example. Native Americans had no history of alcohol use. United States troops came through, did two things. One, killed 90% of them with disease. So 90% of the Native Americans died from disease because they were exposed to smallpox and all sorts of horrible shit that the Europeans carried over with them. So 90% of them died from that. And then they got pushed into reservations. They got slaughtered by people with guns, and they lost all their land. And then also they get introduced to alcohol. So everything gets super depressing, and you get introduced to alcohol, and that is devastating to a society. And to this day, reservations have very high rates of alcohol and drug abuse, very high rates on Native American reservations.
Oh yeah,
But if you
they're really drinking over there.
But if you look at us, like regular people, like we were talking about alcohol today, right?
Yeah.
We're talking about I barely drink anymore. I'll have a drink every now and then, and I had one recently, but that's it. Like you can. I know how to do that. I come from a culture of people who drank. It's common. People drink wine with dinner. It's common. It's normal. You can figure out how to regulate it for the most part. But there's people who won't, right?
Yeah.
But it's not as bad as when no one knows what to do because you've never had it before. And then once you get it, you're fucked. That's the problem also with censorship. That's the problem with social media. We're the first people to get it. So we're basically the Native Americans of social media. We're getting it for the first time, and it's wrecking our society.
Yeah.
Not to the same level that it did in Native Americans, because it also carries a lot of positives. It does let you distribute information. You learn about things. There's a lot of positives that come with social media. But also, we're the first people that don't know how to handle it.
Yeah.
The grandchildren and great-grandchildren of us, they will have a much better understanding of what not to do and what to do. Oh, I have an uncle who is an addict.
Yeah.
He's a Twitter addict.
Yeah.
He's a real problem. All he does is yell about politics. He's on his phone 16 hours a day. He doesn't pay attention to his life. He's losing his job because he's a Twitter addict. There's people like that, just like there's people that are drug addicts. But these are the first ones.
Got it. I hadn't thought about it like that.
Yeah, we got to learn how to regulate. And I think people are going to learn, a lot of kids are using apps now that limit the amount of time that they're on their social media for 1 hour a day. And
Are they? You think a lot of these kids?
A lot
I feel
of
like
kids
they're
are
just
doing that. Kids that want a better life.
Yes.
Kids that recognize that you can waste time, and when you waste time over long, junior high school into high school, you really start realizing it, and you see the difference between people who don't waste time and really get after it and get things done, and then you see the people that are falling by the wayside. And that's a pattern that establishes when you're a teenager, pretty much for the whole rest of your life. You know, I knew people that were kind of ne'er-do-wells in high school that really never got into anything, and they never tried hard at anything, and they stayed like that.
Yeah. I think it's hard to make a change in your life, you know?
Very hard. Very hard to make a change in how you see life.
Yeah.
You know, and then you're not going to change your life unless you change the way you see life.
Yeah.